This is the terrifying story of Elira's grave, the girl who came back from the dead to haunt her own funeral. It was 1994, and Elira was a seemingly normal 17-year-old girl living in a small town in Romania. But one day she came down with a strange and sudden illness that left her completely paralyzed and unable to speak. Despite the best efforts of local doctors, they were unable to diagnose her or provide any treatment for her paralysis. And so for several days, she just lay there in her bed, unable to move or communicate. And then after exactly 3 days, she died. The grieving family had no choice but to bury her alive. They knew something was wrong. They knew that their daughter was not actually dead, but there was nothing they could do. So they said their goodbyes and covered her body in the cold, hard concrete of a coffin before lowering her into the ground and covering the grave with soil. But what happened next was truly terrifying. Just 2 days after the funeral, people began to report hearing strange sounds coming from the cemetery. At first, it was just hushed whispers, like someone was standing by the grave talking in low tones. Then it progressed to muffled screams and cries, as if someone was trapped beneath the surface, desperately trying to claw their way out. The cemetery keeper was so terrified by these sounds that he didn't even bother to investigate. He simply ran away and hid at home for the night, too afraid to go anywhere near the cemetery. But the next morning, he went back to work, only to discover that the earth above Eli's grave had been disturbed. The soil was fresh and there was a large crater above her coffin, as if someone had tried to dig their way up from inside the grave. Of course, the family were horrified to hear this. They demanded that the authorities exhume the coffin and allow them to take their daughter's body home for a proper burial. But the local priest refused, believing that the girl was now a vampire and that digging her up would unleash evil upon the town. He warned that if they exhumed the body, she would rise and take her revenge on those who disturbed her rest. Of course, he was just trying to scare them off, but it worked all too well. And so the coffin remains in the ground to this very day, untouched and undisturbed. Every year, on the night of her death, someone reports hearing scratching and clawing sounds coming from below the surface, as if she is trying to escape her prison beneath the cemetery. But come morning, there is never any sign of disturbance. It's almost as if she is only active when the sun goes down. Some people believe that Elira really is a vampire, that her thirst for blood and vengeance is what is keeping her body from decaying, and that her spirit is now bound to her physical form, trapping her forever in the shallow grave. Others say that the real reason she isn't dead is because she was never actually buried properly. After all, a coffin needs to be lowered into the ground, not just placed on top of it. As long as a part of her coffin remains above the surface, she won't be able to rest properly, which is why she's still haunting the cemetery. But what do you think? Is Elira really a vampire? Or is there another explanation for the sounds in the cemetery? Let me know your thoughts down below. If you want to hear more terrifying tales of paranormal activity, stay tuned for more content.